How many times have you regretted something you said just seconds after saying it? Not because it wasn't true, but because it was spoken in anger, in haste, with your heart on fire. It was just another conversation, a harmless comment, until someone pressed that invisible button inside you, and suddenly you became a different person. Your blood boiled, your voice rose, the words slipped out unfiltered, like arrows shot by a hand that wasn't yours. And when the dust settled, all that remained was silence, and maybe a late apology, or the weight of guilt, or yet another piece of a broken relationship. Have you been there? Maybe today, maybe yesterday. We live in a world where everyone seems to be on edge. Everything is urgent, everything is personal. Everything invites a reaction, immediate, impulsive, emotional. But what if I told you there's a space between what happens and what you do about it? A sacred space, small but powerful, and in that space lies your true freedom. This isn't a conversation about suppressing emotions or pretending everything's fine. It's about discovering that you don't have to be dragged along by what you feel, that you can feel everything and still choose how to act. Imagine someone provokes you, and instead of responding on impulse, you breathe, you feel, but you don't react. You observe and choose. That choice could change your life, save a friendship, preserve your peace, reveal your strength. Today we'll explore the power of non-reaction. We'll talk about how to cultivate the awareness that lets you respond with wisdom, not old wounds. We'll look inward, where the fire lives and the calm that can contain it. Because sometimes the bravest act is staying silent when everything in you screams. It's not fighting back when everything in you wants to. It's being the space, not the storm. Take a deep breath. The journey begins here. There is a gap between stimulus and response, a subtle space almost no one notices. But it's in this gap that true freedom lies. It's here that the power not to react resides. The untrained mind, when provoked, reacts. Like a pressure cooker without a valve, it explodes. But Buddhist teaching shows us another path. The path of awakening isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about understanding them deeply, about bringing awareness to what we feel and where it comes from. At the heart of Buddhism lies a concept called sati, or mindfulness. It's the state of being conscious of what's happening as it happens, without getting lost in it. When we practice sati, we begin to see the hidden cycle of our reactions. It starts with a stimulus, a cutting remark, a dismissive glance, a painful memory. This stimulus generates vedana, a sensation, maybe heat, a tightening in the chest, a lump in the throat, tension in the body. That sensation morphs into an emotion, anger, sadness, fear, and almost without realizing it, we react, with words, with actions, with rash decisions. What the Buddha teaches is this: if we can observe the sensation before acting, we can break the cycle. We can feel, breathe, see clearly, and choose our response. The emotion exists, but it doesn't own us. It passes like a cloud, and we remain as the sky. The practice begins with small moments. Someone interrupts you. You notice anger rising. Instead of lashing out, you inhale. Observe the sensation. Whisper to yourself, "Anger is here." That's all. You acknowledge it without becoming it. It's like watching a spark land on dry leaves. If you act quickly, you can stop the fire. But if you ignore it, the flames spread. This is why great masters spoke so often of noble silence. Not a cold or distant silence, but a space of presence. A silence charged with wisdom. A pause that holds what you feel without being consumed by it. The Buddha didn't teach suppression. He taught observation. Non-identification with what arises. You feel anger, but you are not the anger. You feel sadness, but you are not the sadness. You are the awareness watching it all pass by. Over time, this practice transforms your inner world. What once wounded you now teaches you. What once threw you off balance now calls you back to center. What once felt like provocation now becomes compassion. And then, something shifts. People expect your reaction, but you offer silence. They expect shouting, you offer presence. They expect war, you offer peace. Not because you're repressing yourself, but because you're free. Free from the prison of impulsivity. Free from the need to win an argument. Free from the illusion that reacting is the same as strength. This is the power of a true practitioner. Not the strength to dominate others, but the depth to know yourself, to stay present, to choose consciously. The power not to react isn't absence, it's pure presence. Long ago, in a distant kingdom, there lived a monk known for his unshakable serenity. They called him Master Dawa. He lived alone in the mountains, and from time to time he would descend to the village to offer teachings to those seeking peace. One day, a famous warrior heard of the monk. This warrior was known not only for his skill with the sword, but also for his explosive temper. A man of swollen pride and thirst for conflict, he could not tolerate being ignored or contradicted. When he learned of Dawa's reputation, the warrior grew furious. They say this old man stays calm in the face of any provocation. Let's see if he remains calm when provoked by me. The next day, he climbed to the monk's temple. Upon arriving, he found Dawa sweeping dry leaves in front of his hut. Without greeting or respect, the warrior began to insult him. You hypocritical old man. You hide up here in the mountains because you're afraid of the real world. What's the use of all this calm if you've never known what it means to fight? The monk kept sweeping, silent. You're a fraud, a coward disguised as a sage, a charlatan who fools peasants with pretty words. Nothing. Not a glance of disapproval, not a harsh reply. The warrior began to shout. He kicked stones, knocked over a clay pot. The rage inside him grew like an uncontrolled fire. But Dawa remained serene, simply sweeping. Desperate for a reaction, the warrior drew his sword. If you don't answer me, I'll take it as an insult, and I will attack. Dawa looked calmly into his eyes, and with a firm yet gentle voice, he said, If someone offers you a gift, and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong? The warrior was confused. What are you saying? Dawa smiled. If someone offers you anger, insults, offense, and you do not accept them, to whom do those things belong? The warrior fell silent. His sword trembled in his hand. He had never thought this way before. He was so accustomed to reacting, to attacking, to defending himself, that he had forgotten there was a choice. Dawa continued, When we react on impulse, we become prisoners of the other. We let ourselves be dragged by the energy handed to us. But when we remain aware, we do not become accomplices to the darkness. We are the mirror that does not return the stone. We are the earth that receives the rain without revolt. The warrior lowered his sword. Something inside him crumbled. Not weakness, liberation. For the first time, he tasted true silence, the strength that does not harm, the peace that needs to defeat no one. From that day on, the warrior began to visit the monk, not to challenge him, but to learn to tame the fire within, to learn the power of not reacting, because in the end, the greatest victory is over oneself. Take a breath for a moment. How many times have you been swept away by the storm of emotions? How many words were spoken before they were thought? How many decisions born from the heat of impulse left scars? Don't blame yourself for this. You're not alone. We are all learning to live with what we feel. The difference is, now you are aware. And awareness is the first step toward liberation. Today's teaching is not an invitation to apathy or indifference. It is a call to presence, to recognize, in the very moment emotion arises, that something is happening within you. Something asking for care. Something asking for space. When you feel provoked, hurt, wronged, there is a choice. You can react on autopilot, as you always have, or you can pause, breathe, feel, observe. Buddhism offers simple yet profound practices to cultivate this presence. Here are a few you can bring into your daily life. 1. Conscious breathing. When you feel something about to overwhelm you, bring attention to your breath. 3 mindful breaths may be enough to dissolve the impulse. 2. Naming the emotion. Say silently, "This is anger," or "This is fear." Naming is like turning on a light in a dark room. The emotion loses its power to control you when seen clearly. 3. Silence as a response. Not everything needs a reply. Not every provocation deserves a reaction. Silence, when rooted in wisdom, is one of the most powerful answers. 4. Daily meditation. Regular meditation strengthens your ability to observe before acting. Over time, you begin to notice inner movements before they become words. 5. Self-compassion. Even when you slip, even when you react unintentionally, hold yourself gently. This practice isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. And every time you notice, you are already transforming. Controlling your emotions isn't about suppressing them. It's offering them a safe space to be felt, without letting them own you. It's tending the fire without getting burned. It's making room in your chest so even pain can rest without causing destruction. With time, you'll realize the world doesn't change when you shout. It changes when you choose silence out of wisdom, when you respond with clarity, when you choose peace, even with every reason to wage war. That is the strength of an awakened heart. It is not fragile. It is free. There is a quiet beauty in the art of non-reaction, a wisdom that grows within us, little by little, like a lake calming after the storm. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to answer every criticism with more noise. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. The conscious choice not to play the game of anger, the gentle firmness of one who knows their own mind and refuses to be dragged by it. The peace you seek isn't out there. It doesn't depend on the world stopping its provocations. It is born when you stop getting lost in them. The Buddha said, just as a solid rock isn't shaken by the wind, the wise remain unmoved by praise or blame. May you become that rock, not hard and rigid, but steady, centered, awake. The practice begins now, in the small moments. The next time something strikes you, breathe. Remember this path. Remember Dawa, the monk who swept in peace while the world raged around him. You too can be that space of silence amid the noise, that space of peace amid the chaos. If this video touched something within you, leave a comment, share your experience, and if you'd like to walk this path of wisdom and transformation, subscribe to the channel. Here, every teaching is a reminder. You can live with more awareness, more calm, more compassion. If you have a topic you'd like us to explore next, write it below. This space is yours. This path, we walk together. Until next time, may your breath be light, may your mind be clear, may your heart remain at peace.